Well, this is Kimile. Welcome back. This is Heal with Kimile podcast. And today we're talking about how to really change. What does change look like? How do we change? And is it possible? A lot of people are really working on themselves right now. It seems to be a sense that they need to change or update themselves. And is change really, really possible? I believe it is. I work with people all day long, and if I didn't think people could change, I would probably couldn't do what I do for a living. And I have seen people change and transform themselves, and it does take work and it does take practice, but people do change. And what you have to look at when you're trying to change is what's motivating you for that. Is it really sustainable? Is the motivation going to be enough for you to change? And what causes people to want to change anyway? Pain. Mostly, pain gets so bad, or, if you're an addict, if you're overweight, if you're in a difficult relationship, if you hate your job, like there usually seems to be a gutful people get, and then they change because they can't do it anymore. They've hit the wall, so to speak. And if you're in that, category, then change will happen. People are terrified of change. This is one of the hardest things I think a human being has to confront is changing themselves, changing how they see something. But it's amazing when people do finally get it, like they just finally get the truth of something, how everything else seems to fall in place. Here's an example. I've got a young girl, and she has a drug addict for a father, and dad's in and out of her life, in and out of prison, in and out of, rehabs, hasn't been able to get sober her whole life. And she's now hitting 25. And dad recently got caught with some heroin, and he was around minor children using heroin. So now he's on the lam, he's running. And when he gets caught, he's going to go to prison. But finally, my beautiful client, who has had nothing but empathy and compassion and pity and love for her father, as she should love her dad, right? But she's finally mad. She's finally angry. She's finally sick of him and sick of how he has roller coastered her and other children. And he's just not able to get off his drugs. So she's finally dealing with the impact of having an addict for a father her whole life. And that's a breakthrough. Honestly, her getting mad and feeling anger for the first time is a breakthrough because she can start healing. Before it's, well, if I get mad at him, he's going to leave, or I'll never see him again. Or it was always this fear of abandonment. And we mammals need our adults. We need our parents. We need our tribe. So she couldn't handle the potential loss of him permanently in her life. And this father would threaten basically abandonment. He would, well, if you don't like that, I'll just leave your life. And it was always under the guise of pity or guilt trip, or, if you can't deal with me the way I am, I know I'm an addict. I know I'm hard to be with, but if you can't deal with it. So he would really manipulate her. And so she would always, oh no, it's okay, Dad. I love you. And I know you're trying, but she's the parent. She's the adult. She's the one managing this guy. And it was unfair to her whole life. So finally, he's kind of done something so egregious. And, I think it really was that he was harming another kid. Like he was using heroin in another child's room. That's when she's realizing, oh my gosh, it's not me that he's just hurting and abandoning. It's everybody, because he's an addict. He's a full-blown addict. And he can't stop. He won't stop without help. He may stop if he goes to jail. That's one good thing about going to jail or prison, that he may have to be forced to stop drugs, but you can get drugs in there, I know. But still, it could be a wake-up call he needs. But her wake-up call, I think, was watching him or experiencing him hurt another kid. And that really did hit home with her, that this is someone that's harmed her whole life. So finally, she's angry. Finally, she's dealing with the impact of what it's been like to have a drug addict for a father, and the roller coastering she's gone through, the enabling she's been part of, how we pity these people. We feel so sorry for them, yet they are the most resourceful, and they'll, find money, they'll sell something, they'll steal something, they'll do whatever they have to do to get their fix, get their drug. And while we professionals, I have empathy for that. I have compassion for an addict, and I know that there's something driving this behavior. He's motivated by something, and he's an addict. That's one way of dealing with it, but that's not her job. Her job is not to therapy him, baby him, mother him, feel sorry for him. Our children shouldn't be pitying us as parents. So finally, she's ready to change. She's ready to change her pleasing. She's been a pleaser her whole life. And all of that was motivated by fear of abandonment. So now she's changing, and she's willing to be abandoned. She's willing to face the consequences if she gets mad and tells him how it is and tells him she's sick of it, or she can't do this anymore with love. She can't see him her and other people. She can't see him hurt himself anymore. Like that's where she's really had enough of it. Now that she sees that and she's willing to be abandoned by him, her fear, her biggest fear in the world is coming true. And that's what she's been avoiding for so many years. And finally, she's ready to face that fear, let it happen. And she is now free because she's confronted that fear. So that's a moment of change for her. She's going to evolve into a much better version of herself and finally focus on herself and not be living to please everybody else, because she's doing this behavior with everybody, right? She's a classic codependent. She's making sure everybody else around her is okay, and she's not worried about herself. She's self-harmed. She's a very smart, straight A student, yet she just hasn't had the confidence and the self-love and the self-care that she really deserves and needs. So major breakthrough. So what caused her to change? The pain that she's had enough. She got a gut full of this whole cycle, and she's going to step into her own light and her own power now. And as she does that, she's going to get clear on who she is. And look, as on a big picture, this is everybody. Everybody's got some sort of, they've got some sort of dragon to slay. They've got something they're dealing with. We all grow up in some sort of dysfunction, and we can't see it. I think the whole goal of therapy, the whole goal of working on yourself is really getting to the truth about who you really are. And sometimes we just can't get there until we're mature enough, old enough, ready enough, have had enough pain to really get there. This is what I think ultimate, self-care and self-work is all about, is finally getting to what really does motivate you and why are you operating the way you're operating. When people say, I want to change, I say, well, yeah, but what are you getting out of the way you're being? What are you getting out of this role you're playing? If you are a pleaser, what's the benefit of that? What are you avoiding by being the pleaser, for example? So being a pleaser, you avoid conflict. You avoid looking bad. You avoid tension. You think, but there's still some tension. You avoid upsetting other people. So you can avoid their anger or their wrath. As long as you're obeying or pleasing them, people don't usually, get rid of you or get mad at you. But is that sustainable? Is that really sustainable your whole life? Probably not. And at some point, pleasers, codependents have to face the self-harm that they're doing, the impact of being with someone that, can do whatever the heck they want as long as they don't leave them. That's the game with the pleaser. If you're with a pleaser, you can do whatever you want, just don't leave me. Like that's really the ultimate game with the pleaser. So most pleasers are motivated by abandonment. They don't want to be abandoned. They want to belong. They want to be loved. They want to be included. They just don't want to be alone. That's usually at the core of a pleaser motivator. And these motivations, by the way, get started early in life. And if you have been a young child being abandoned, it's the worst thing on the planet. But now the solution to this, my client's pain, is to be abandoned. Like she can't keep living in this cycle with him. So being abandoned is actually going to set her free. And I see that a lot. We say, I must never go through that. I can't handle that as younger people. And then we live our life to avoid that, whatever that is, abandonment or anger or someone mad at you or displeased with you or not liking you, for example. And then you get to a place in your life where that is the solution to the problem you've got. It's actually the way you get free of the bad habits or the codependent cycle you become. It's ironic, isn't it? But I think that the things that we say we can't handle growing up are our greatest teachers. And then when we can experience them and embrace them and allow them to be in our life, it actually gives us freedom. I do feel like every counselor at the core of it, every form of therapy, counseling, et cetera, is really trying to help people get clear on who they really are and get clear on what's really motivating them for their behaviors. But when people say, I really want to change, I really want to give this up, or I really want to lose weight, or I really want to be a powerful, confident person. You look at these things and people always want to be something other than what they are. Okay. You have to first look at yourself and say, why, how I wound up being this way and why I am this way is actually a good idea. And I need to be this way. And I needed to be who I am, in the world because it's helped me survive my past. Until you can clearly see that that was needed, wanted, had to happen for your survival, you're not going to be able to give it up. And when you're truly ready for a new you, a new identity, a new role, then you can give up the old ways of being. But you have to appreciate them, be grateful for them, and see how they really did serve you. So this is kind of at the core of my work. When people come work with me, a lot of people want change. And what I have them look at is possible. Change is always possible. You can become a whole new role in life, but you have to understand who you are first, right here, right now, and how you got here, right? We come by our behaviors honestly. We come by the results we create in our life honestly. We do things for a reason. It isn't just a happenstance. So when you start looking deeply at yourself and introspecting and realizing that you are exactly who you needed to be to survive your life, and if you're ready to face the monsters and face the pain and face the abandonment, whatever that's going to look like, then you can change. And that usually change comes with a price, right? There's going to have to be something you let go of. You give up being that to become this. I'm good at helping people through this stuff. I can help navigate changes. I've got lots of clients that are leaving home. They're 18, they're 19, they're moving out, they're going to college. And, there's always a tough dynamic with parents and teenagers at that age because the kids are starting to get their own power, their own ideas, their own, self-esteem. And it's an awkward time with parents. They don't know what to do. Push, pull. How do I parent now? It's a tough exchange. So I work through a lot of issues with that with students, teenagers leaving home, going to college. Empty nest, like couples going through empty nest things, and we want to stay together. Are we going to make this work? So I have a lot of couples that are reinventing themselves together. I call it Soulmate Second Chance program. And I work with a lot of people just in, with their own bad habits and how to release the pain that they're using over. I can help people get sober with that. So these are just some of the things I work with people. Bottom line, at the core of it, it's change. It's helping people really change and have permanent, lasting results in their life. I'm good at it. If any of this sounds great for you, you can find me at my website, healwithkimile.com, HEAL with KIMILE.com. Looking forward to talking with you, meeting you. Thank you for watching, and have a peaceful day.